Assalamu alaikum. I'm lying on the sofa. I'm not sick. I'm just feeling a little bit under the weather. In what sense? I know Allah says that if you're a believer, you will not be afraid and you will not be sad. You can feel a little tiny bit now and then of something, but He says, لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. The word ala here, it means on. If you put the book on the table, ala ma'idah or ala maktaba or ala jamb, put it over there to the side. Allah has a sense of being on you. So I have to make sure that this feeling doesn't overwhelm me, because Allah says it won't if you're a believer. However, I didn't feel the impetus to make a real lesson, although I wanted to. I wanted to do a page of Quran from Surah Tawbah regarding disbelief and disbelievers. That was my first reaction to do this, because we're going to approach the bitter truth, the sad reality of where we are right now. A great sheikh, one of the last of the best, was put into, picked up, let's say, and put into some form of prison, jail, I don't know, just taken away to the netherworld of the Egyptian authorities. And it happened yesterday, and I woke up to it this morning. And it really put me in a little bit of a tailspin. How about that? How about that as a simile? You know, when a plane is ready to crash, it goes into a tailspin and it just whirls around until it crashes. So all my years in Egypt, I lived through many great scholars being put in prison. Some for years and years. And I thought, this is no way to treat the words of Allah, is it? Well, something called politics. You know, many say, you know, the meanderings of what they do has repercussions. Perhaps they don't want America to know that they like the Quran or that they really believe in the words of Allah. Maybe they have to do this as a show. Oh, let's arrest all the real top scholars. As I told you, I'm really feeling, I'm feeling exhausted from a mental and emotional awareness that I'm not doing what I should be doing. Not everything comes from books. And yes, the words of Allah in Quran, and yes, the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad. I've had a couple of people say to me, you know, I have followers and friends, and one of my best friends said, you know what, your last lessons were a little strange. I want you to go back to tafsir of Quran and the meanings in Arabic, because I like that better. So I responded to her and I said, I'm trying to be a little bit of a light in the lives of my women followers specifically, because everyone's dealing with so much now. And it's really, sometimes it can be overwhelming when everything looks so, I don't want to say hopeless. We always have hope. We're Muslims, right? We have to. It's part of our religion. We never give up. We never, like the expression, throw in the towel. I'm sick of this. I'm not going to put up with this anymore. I'm just going to go out and, I don't know, shop, buy something, or I'm going to sit up now because I've been relaxing too long on this sofa. Okay, here I am. I'm actually sitting up now. Will that make me feel better? Let's wait and see. So what's the latest? So I didn't even bother making myself look respectable. Come on, everyone knows I have white hair. It's no big deal. All right, so it's a shadow there, making it look brown. Okay. Well, anyway, I just heard someone bailed him out. Now, I've never heard that expression, bailed out, in Egypt before. That's an American expression. But in any event, the word on the street is he has been released. For further, they take it, okay? Do I care? Do I care if you see my white hair? I have bigger things on my mind. The election for the mayor of New York tomorrow, for instance. I don't live in New York, but I'm not expecting anything. I'm not optimistic because there might be some trouble in New York City, and that's the last thing we want. So that's what I'm dealing with now. I'm dealing with the arrest of Sheikh Mustafa al-Adawi, the last of the greats. All the others have died or been exiled, let's put it that way, or are in prison. Then I have to see a video about Halloween in Saudi Arabia and how people are saying it's the worst exhibition of Satanism. And of course, they've got all the video footage. But the real problem that I want to discuss, so that I won't be accused of avoiding what? Avoiding what I'm supposed to be dealing with, which is Islam in America, and trying to explain things based on Quran and Sunnah that are going to benefit my kaum. That's what the Shiuk said 14 years ago. They said, you have to talk to your people. You must make a YouTube channel. And I didn't want to. And they pushed me. And they said, what do you mean you don't want to? What are you doing with all this knowledge? What is your point? Why did you even come here to study Quran and Arabic? And you must. This has got nothing to do with what you want. You must. Well, the topic of the day is the Egyptian Museum, something that has been promoted for the past few days as being, you can say, a wonder of the world, because it's the most expensive, largest, glorious, better than the Louvre in Paris, better than the London Museum. They claim it's the biggest and best ever. In Alexandria, of course. Where else? Is this Alexandria? There was a big museum in Alexandria. This one might be in Giza. I don't know. All I know is it's extremely gigantic. And it was opened up to fanfare, the likes of which I've never seen. I mean, it was like 10 Super Bowls combined. And all of the costumes revolved around Pharaoh's greatness. And the way that Pharaoh has been depicted in films. And I don't know if that's in any way legitimate. Maybe, yes, they did go to Luxor and Aswan, and they saw the pictures on the temples, which I've seen. I've been there. It's amazing. However, because I've been quite involved in this for the past 2 or 3 days, listening to everything and watching it all, it is beyond belief amazingly beautiful, if you want to look at it from an artistic point of view. I didn't want to watch the fanfare of all the theatrics and the music and dancing because I don't really like that, and I feel it has negative effects on people. Too much fantasy. I mean, I grew up with Disney. You know, the whole thing is just over the top when you're American, especially when you're my age. I keep saying I'm going to be 80 in 2 more years. Yeah, And I'm so over it. I can't tell you how over it I am because it's not legitimate. How do we know that this is even the way it was? Now, one highlight I have to say, and you'll be surprised, but I'm only human, I think. No, I'm joking. But when the president came with his wife and they walked down as they were entering, they looked so cute. I mean, I have to say, I'm sorry. Am I being disrespectful that I'm saying they look like high school sweethearts? But they did. I mean, these people have been married over 30 years. They have 4 children, and they just looked like they were going to the prom. And she was exquisitely, whoever chose that gown, now they're trying to say it was a foreign designer, and they're making a big hullabaloo about that. Why can't she have an Egyptian designer? Oh, shut up. Her dress, her gown was so appropriate, and it was lovely. And she doesn't wear a full hijab, but she wears a bonnet. What do you want for the woman's over 60 years old? Leave her alone. Oh, yeah, we have some critiques about that. Like, why can't she wear a scarf like the president of Turkey's wife wears? She wears a little hat, but she wears a scarf. Oh, shut up, people. Could you please stop being so vindictively petty? I have to say, I thought they looked beautiful. And I have my criticisms of him. I don't have any criticisms of her. Every time I've heard her speak, she's, for me, just right. I don't know, I like her. So I don't want to go on and on about this. I will say I like her a lot more than I like the previous 3 that I was exposed to. First ladies. Or was it 3? I never knew Nasser's wife. I know she didn't wear anything on her head. But then who do we have? We have Mubarak, and we have, I don't recall Morsi's wife wore a khimar, but he didn't last long. So we had Sadat's wife, and both Sadat's wife and Mubarak's wife were not looking like Muslim. They were beautiful. I think, if I'm not mistaken, both of them were half foreign, I think. I'm sure that both of them were mixed, Middle East parentage and European, I think, if I'm not mistaken. That's neither here nor there. They're out of power now. And we saw what we saw, and we observed that to be an Egyptian is to be by default. Could it be by default that you're going to have to accept being half of anything? Half Muslim, half Arab, half, I don't know. It just, the whole thing coming together at this point in time, when everything is so in flux and seemingly wrong, but nothing is really wrong because Allah decreed it to be this way. So I heard some commentators, I don't want to give names, but they were giving I don't know if they were given a script to follow and to read, but it was all about being the grandchildren of Pharaoh and having a pharaonic legacy and being the oldest civilization in the world, the most I guess you could say, I don't know what I can say, but yes, okay, pyramids, we all know, but nobody really knows who really built them. They argue, the scholars argue. Was it really Egyptians? Was it slaves? Was it aliens? Was it? I think we should just live in the present, open the Quran, and see what Allah tells us about us. Let's not talk about nation states. Let's not discuss what Allah says about, the G7, the big OPEC, the big BRICS, whoever they are. This is not what Allah talks about. Allah talks about that He's Allah and we should listen because He's the big boss. He's the creator and sustainer of the universe. And He requires that we pay attention to His words at our peril. Our peril. Exactly. Well, what happened when Musa took the Banu Israel out of Pharaoh's grasp and then crossed over the Red Sea? Now, the Red Sea, we know, is where they crossed over. And then, supposedly, they were safe, and they went up to a high place, and Musa received on the mountain the commands of Allah. This is in the Quran. Whether or not you want to call it 10 Commandments, like the Christians do, the point is, they were free. And then they proceeded to build the golden calf and worship it. So from this, we can believe, because in the Quran it's Allah's words, that they did that. And then they went on to break further covenants. This is totally in detail in the Torah, in the first book of the Bible, first 2 books. It's beyond a doubt that they break covenants, okay? And they forever will, because Allah says that in the Quran, that He will forever put them in exile and torture them and humiliate them until Judgment Day. Who are they? What is this them word? It's not the J word. We don't say Jew because it's illegitimate and it has no basis in reality. It's a smoke screen that has been placed in the English language to deter you from ever really trying to figure out who they were. Well, Allah tells you who they were. They were the tribe of Israel. The tribes are well documented in the Bible and in the Quran. All of the names are in there. They do have an ancestry, and they were real living people. If they go astray after they know, and they turn aside from what they were told to do, they will be referred to as Yehud. So now, Allah described Pharaoh in a very bad way. He was literally a Yehud, but he wasn't from those tribes. He was just a Yehud in the sense that he knew and defied Musa. And not only did he defy Musa, but he actually said that he said, Ana Rabbukum al-A'la. I don't even like to say it. It makes me sad. Not sad for him, but sad that it's such a real living expression of pharaonic behavior. He said, I am your Lord Most High. So the fact that he said that was good enough reason that he was drowned and all of his armies. At the exact same moment that this museum has been opening with such fanfare, YouTube, I don't know, I hadn't seen it before, and I follow everything. They uploaded a discovery that was made wherein chariots, that they have done all this data, scientific testing, they claim it's Pharaoh's army that was buried beneath the sea in the area of Aqaba and Nuweiba. And they have pictures of it. So the fact is, there was an army that was destroyed. And based on their, they retrieved a lot of the wheels and parts of chariots, etc. This was the Pharaoh of the Abur, the crossing of the Red Sea. However, it's never mentioned in that sense that there was a punishment given to a ruler who angered Allah. So whenever you see anything regarding this Pharaoh, first of all, they'll make you doubt that it was Ramses Thani. All the experts will say, well, some say, but it isn't, but not really. I went to the National Museum in Tahrir Square 20 years ago, and I saw the mummy in the case, and he looked like an old, shriveled up mummy, and it was a real mummy, and it said, "This is the mummy of Ramses Thani," but it didn't say the important part. The important part comes from Quran, where Allah says that He saved him in his body to be a sign to everyone after that. Fesu fi badni liyakunu ayah. It's in the Quran that this mummy, who was involved with Musa and the crossing, has been preserved. But they never would label anything as such as being the Pharaoh of Musa. They would never give a Quranic verse. And I thought that was quite odd to have that in the museum and all the tourists coming in and never referring to anything about Islam. It's similar to the Holy Family when they say Maryam and Joseph and baby Jesus, and they call them the Holy Family. There was no family. Mary didn't marry Joseph. Anyway, I think that's enough today to fulfill my duty. You know, I'm not saying you're going to enjoy this lesson. I'm not saying you're going to. You might be disturbed because it disturbs me, and I've been thinking about these things for 50 years or so. Why all those billions? Would it be millions or billions? On a fanfare of something that's shameful. And that's why they arrested Sheikh Mustafa al-Adawi, because he mentioned it was wrong. Why are we glorifying anything that took place regarding the Pharaoh? And why are we claiming grandiosely that we are grandchildren of Pharaoh, when the man was a tyrant and he was hated by Allah for his disobedience and his vanity? So the Sheikh's words were, as usual, as Sheikh's words are, completely 100% correct. Now, add to that the fact that the Egyptian people can barely find food to eat, and you have these incredible extravaganzas taking millions, if not, I don't know, I'm not good in math, but billion is a lot more, right? They're spending so much money on this nonsense. Is it nonsense? Yeah, it's nonsense. You might as well make a movie and get it over with. You know, be a film producer, and you'll make millions on that, no doubt. But if I recall, the film The Ten Commandments was forbidden in Egypt. Totally forbidden. When I was there, it was, and it probably still is for all I know, but it's on YouTube, so anyone can go watch it now. I've seen it at least 20 times. It's called The 10 Commandments. The role of Pharaoh was played by Yul Brynner. It was an amazing film. It was beautiful. And as far as I know, it was all true. So I'll leave you with that. Maybe those of you who never saw the film The 10 Commandments, get it. Probably can rent it now on YouTube for $5. So I think tomorrow I'll try to tackle the Holy Family storyline and how that's been twisted and turned around upside down, not given the truth to the people, because that's something I really do feel is a must, that I must do, because I know so much about that stuff because I was raised Catholic. And funny enough, the same story is told by the Coptics, Akbats in Egypt. They have the same story as the Catholics and the Greek Orthodox. So with that, I'll close, and I will wish you a peaceful evening. If you get upset, do what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to go read Quran and get all of this modern world away from me. and pray for peace. Pray for peace. Inshallah. Have a restful evening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.